The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to the monthly webinar for October. Today's webinar session is entitled O2 and Construction, Building a Smarter, More Connected Future. Just before we get started, just a brief overview of how to use this webinar. Everybody is currently set to default because there's a large number of people on the call. You can get the audio over the telephone, which you've probably worked out already, or the speakers with the computer. I would encourage you to please forward any questions that come up during the session using the questions tab. We'll answer those at the end, and we'll also have some poll questions at the end too. At the end of the meeting, we'll have a follow-up survey. Please respond to the questions so we can use that feedback to help the work of the community. Okay, we'll now start the session. As you're probably aware, those that have attended before, we've been running these webinars for a number of years. Behind all technological initiatives in the industry is a simple goal, and that is improving productivity. Often the best improvements come from a combination of knowledge, so that's the people, the process and the technology. Comet is running an ongoing series of webinars that are supported by its members to help companies involved in construction and capital projects to spread best practice and improve productivity across the industry. We're very delighted that this initiative has been supported by our sponsors, O2 and Rebim. Our session, as I mentioned, is O2 and Construction, Building a Smarter, More Connected Future. Question I often get asked, who's joined the digital construction community so far? Well, some will know that previous areas of the productivity webinars was the mobile IT community of interest, which partnered with Fiatech in the US. It ran for 5 years. It involved some 636 organizations in many countries and had nearly 10,000 attendees. So yeah, quite widespread. In the digital construction community, who and what is Comet? There's another question. Comet was initially established as a DTI-funded project in 2003, and since 2005, it's been supported by its members. It has consistently helped to drive change and focus its efforts through incremental improvements, and by sharing and collaborating, bringing like-minded organizations together to help develop solutions for industry-wide issues. So to underpin that, the digital construction community webinars will showcase current solutions that have or are being developed and adopted in the industry. It has an objective of demonstrating improvements in productivity through the deployment of the technology. So, as I mentioned, it's presenting on the latest use cases of digital adoption, and by allowing the participants, which include owners, contractors, vendors, academia, and so on, to expose their own perspective, we hope to show live examples of just what is being done. We have been delivering use cases and industry perspectives through these various channels, including the webinars, Commit community days, Commit conferences, virtual and live discussions, various documentation reports, and also by facilitating the creation and participation in research and development projects that include the Commit community. So, another question is productivity. What does it mean to you? Are we doing enough to improve productivity? And what other productivity solutions are out there to make a difference to other businesses and organizations, and how can it help you? These webinar sessions and all the work that Comet does is intended to help organizations like yours who are pursuing a route to higher productivity. How big is the problem in construction? Well, it's a pretty big one. The construction sector is one of the largest in the world economy, with about $10 trillion spent on construction-related goods and services. The industry's productivity has trailed, sat behind that of other sectors for decades. And there is a $1.6 trillion opportunity to close that gap. There's many reasons for this poor performance. The industry is extensively regulated. It's very dependent on public sector, highly cyclical, a lot of informality. Construction is highly fragmented. Contracts have mismatches in risk allocations and rewards, and often inexperienced owners and buyers find it hard to navigate an often opaque marketplace. The result is poor project management and execution, insufficient skills, inadequate design, and research, development, and innovation. They all lack. So, what's the answer? Well, there's some examples from innovative firms that suggest by acting in several areas simultaneously could boost productivity from between 50 to 60%. So these include design and engineering process revisits, improving procurement and supply chain management, on-site execution, fusing digital technology, new materials and methods, advanced automation, and of course to upskill the workforce. Parts of the industry could move toward a manufacturing-inspired mass production system that would boost productivity up to tenfold. But there are many barriers to higher productivity and ways, to move into these transparent markets. We see quite a few disruptive new entrants. There's more readily available new technologies and materials, processes. But in all of this, if this technology was to come along, there's one thing that we do need, and that's good communication. It's key for the industry, and that leads me perfectly into today's session. I'd like to introduce you to Matt Daly and Ben Paddock, and in just a moment they will deliver today's session. Matt will start the session and Ben will join Matt in detailing how some of the day-to-day business challenges have been overcome. We'll then have a poll question session and we'll finish that with a questions and answers session afterwards. But first, Matt. As an O2 sector specialist, Matt is both a consultant to and an advocate for customers. With experience built up over 3 decades of working with ICT and communications, Matt is now focused on uncovering the business value that can result from bringing together organisational aspirations and technological possibilities. He's as comfortable discussing business outcomes as he is technical solutions and believes that O2 is uniquely placed to help the construction sector address its challenges. Vinci needs no introduction, but is the world's leading integrated concessions and construction group with a turnover of, in 2017, of 40.2 billion euros. It employs 194,000 people across 100 countries. Vinci PLC is a subsidiary of Vinci Construction with 5,000 employees and an annual turnover exceeding £1 billion. It has a number of divisions operating throughout the UK and the Middle East at over 300 locations to offer a comprehensive construction package and facilities maintenance service. Ben leads the Vinci UK IT department, which prides itself on delivering a comprehensive IT services portfolio with excellent levels of service at a time when digital construction processes have significantly increased the demands upon IT. So, without further ado, over to you, Matt. You now have control.
Thank you, Stuart. Good morning, everyone. I'm Matt Daly, and as Stuart said, I'm the sector specialist for construction at O2. I'd like to welcome everybody, including our attendees from Australia, Greece, India, and South Africa. So quite a reach, Stuart. I'm going to be speaking today about what O2 is doing in the construction sector in order to build a smarter, more connected future, and highlighting some of the business benefits that our customers have achieved along the way. The other voice you're going to hear is that of Ben Paddock, IT Director at Vinci PLC, speaking about his real-world challenges and how he's overcoming them with the help of O2. And we know there are many challenges facing the UK construction sector right now. Rising risk aversion and the tighter budget setting of clients in response to Brexit uncertainty has held back activity, particularly in the commercial subsector, with delays to spending decisions contributing to the sharpest fall in new work for over 10 years. It's also reported that over £800 million are lost every year as a result of stolen plant equipment, with theft on the rise since early 2016, which is putting even more pressure on already squeezed margins. Indeed, the first 6 months of 2018, there were 1,256 construction or agricultural plant thefts in mainland UK, according to the now defunct Plant and Agricultural National Intelligence Unit's most recently published report. On top of this, there are government targets to reduce life cycle costs by 1/3 and shorten build times by 1/2, whilst also delivering on their own housing and infrastructure objectives, which will be even more challenging with a workforce that's rapidly aging and businesses struggling to recruit a new generation in an economy with very low unemployment. Figures suggest that the over 60 age group has increased in size by more than any other, whilst the under 30 group has seen the biggest reduction. Added to this, the current political and economic uncertainty is fueling concerns that departure from the EU will bring labour restrictions that deepen the skills shortage, with ministers suggesting the prevention of level 2 workers from entering and working in the UK for more than 12 months at a time, and the fact there aren't enough UK-born workers to go around. So with all these issues in play, we get that it's tough to make decisions with confidence. Thankfully, though, it's not all doom and gloom. There are things to be positive about as well. New technologies and innovative approaches to construction could transform the industry, from artificial intelligence and virtual reality through autonomous drones and assistive exoskeletons and 3D printing at a massive scale. There are real opportunities to transform construction with technology, and lots of thinking is already being done around the art of the possible. That said, I heard some good advice from Mark Ireland, the Chief Engineer at the Manufacturing Technology Centre, during one of the presentations at UK Construction Week earlier this month. He said that stretched budgets should be invested in innovations that are proven in other industries, not on unproven ROIs, and it's actually best to go back and redesign the problem, as Stuart mentioned earlier. Why teach a robot to pick up an individual brick when it can actually pick up a wall? In any case, these types of technologies won't be implemented overnight, and the groundwork has to be laid first. So to capitalise on the opportunities of any new technology, there's a journey to take. When construction businesses ask us to assess their communications and advise on how to make savings and operational improvements, we start by looking at how they currently use technology and where their strategic vision says they want to go with it. We then refine our understanding using structured stakeholder interviews, which provide the basis for innovation sessions where we explore the use cases that would support their key objectives. In doing so, we avoid focusing on features and functions and instead look at who is doing what by engaging at a people and process level. If any of you were at the recent Commit Community Day that we hosted at the O2 in London, you'll have experienced firsthand exactly that. For those that weren't, Stuart will be sharing a video link after the webinar. Once the desired use cases have been properly defined, we then undertake assessments and advisory services to ensure that the right platform is put in place using implementation strategies that are based on business value of the outcomes, which avoids the viral deployment of technology where capabilities are introduced by stealth and adopted by users in an ad hoc manner. Progress is regularly measured and checked to ensure that it remains in line with the business goals, and the implementation strategy is modified if those goals change. At this point, I'd like to introduce Ben Paddock, IT Director at Vinci PLC. Ben, it was great to see very positive results in your half-year report, including the purchase of yet another airport. And I know that you and your ICT team have been on a journey yourselves. Can you tell us about how that started, please?
Yeah, sure, certainly. So back in 2014 now, our CEO set a mission for the company. For us to succeed, we needed to ensure we remain experts in our field of construction and facilities management. and that we'd be best by doing this by applying our knowledge and experience as engineers to everything we do across the entire company. This mission was taken into the IT department, and I asked my team of engineers to have an engineer's mindset and do 3 key things. We need to focus on understanding what the business needs were to help us better align our IT delivery program with our goals, to understand the constraints within our delivery to ensure we was able to enable these goals, and to deliver improvements quicker using a more modern agile delivery model. In order to understand the business requirements better, we had to work closer with the business to help them redefine many of their core processes. Doing this enabled us to understand many of the problems weren't actually technology related, but instead they were more related to the way of inconsistent ways of working and the way that the technology therefore was aligned to these variations. We set out to understand what the businesses required from IT to enable them to achieve the goals. In essence, this boiled down to people needed to be able to work more flexibly, accessing systems from anywhere, any time of day, and using a range of different types of devices than what was provided. We needed to be able to provide access to both the supply chain and our clients, who are now becoming more of an integrated part of our delivery processes. And this was difficult because it meant providing wider access to systems and helping them understand how to use those systems quickly. There was also an appetite to introduce a range of different software as a service type applications from alternative cloud type vendors. And this meant we had to be able to adapt quickly and integrate those into the business. When it comes to understanding some of our constraints, my team were quick to advise that we had a number of problems. A lot of the devices we had were outdated and not compatible with these future applications that were being presented. Our data centers were simply not able to cope with the increasing volume of data that was being created. And the data that was created was difficult to understand and therefore access, and therefore hard for us to continue to extract value from. So that's where we developed our plan from.
Thanks, Ben. Before you talk about the improvements that you made as a result of this activity, I'll just touch on the importance of creating the right platform for them. So only when you have the right communications platform in place can you fully realize the next level of improvement and innovation for your business. Connectivity is essential across so many aspects of construction, from people and their devices to vehicles and supply chains to buildings, equipment and machinery, and O2 is at the forefront of the UK's network infrastructure. We've been investing £2 million a day in our network, investment that's leveraged by our O2 Gateway offering for enterprise customers, including those in construction. As you'd expect, we're also investing in 5G, which will kickstart smart cities by integrating with infrastructure, buildings, appliances, vehicles and products to an even greater degree. O2's 5G network was launched on the 17th of October in London, Edinburgh, Cardiff, Belfast, Slough and Leeds, extending to 20 towns and cities by the end of the year and 50 by the end of 2020. This is after developing 5G testbeds in the O2 in London, the Millbrook Proving Ground for autonomous vehicles, and with FTSE 100 companies. Because of all the engagement we're having with our construction customers and prospects, we're learning more and more about your business needs and the practical services required to run an efficient construction project. These might be about getting your remote site connected to the back office quickly, whether that's a site office on the A14 Cambridge to Huntingdon improvement scheme or a waste recycling plant in Glasgow, and I've been to both, so that staff can access project plans, inventories, bills of materials and supplier contracts without delay. It might be about connecting up your equipment and machinery so that you can monitor their status, prevent accidents and theft, and get maintenance tasks scheduled in advance to minimize downtime. It could be about getting the right digital foundations in place to support smarter working practices that benefit staff, contractors, suppliers and customers, leading to higher quality work with fewer errors and more consistency, and being more attractive to new talent too. All of this learning is used to shape our propositions to better fit our construction customers. Our platform for the construction industry is split across 4 key pillars: mobility, communications, connectivity, and insights. To support mobility, we provide the devices and applications to help you get the right information to the right people at the right time, whether they're on site, in the back office, at a temporary location, or out on the road. And communications is about transforming traditional methods and making digital tools and mobility the default by providing users with personal collaboration tools instead of installing phone systems and video conferencing suites that are seldom used, so that they can work flexibly and efficiently from day one. Connectivity is about helping you rationalize your disparate legacy infrastructures so that you can redeploy operational and support resources and spend less time managing multiple contracts. By integrating your fixed, mobile, and Wi-Fi connections into one platform, you can reduce your total cost of ownership and make your life easier by having just one point of contact for all your networking services. The final pillar is insights, where we use smart technologies and the Internet of Things to gather useful data from your people and equipment. You can then use this to make informed operational decisions and improve workflows and resource allocation. You can track the status and location of construction equipment and vehicles and predict when they will need maintenance or servicing, which helps avoid costly repair bills and idle equipment time. Going back to you, Ben, can you tell us about the improvements that you've made to your platform at Vinci?
Yeah, sure. Well, most of the improvements we made were focused around deploying a range of Samsung devices that enabled us, that were smart and that compatible with our current and future application portfolio. We developed new ways to capture information in the field using a range of digital tools and e-form solutions. And this meant we were able to process and capture information much faster with a higher level of accuracy. We migrated over to Office 365, which provides a much richer and more modern collaboration platform for us to use. We developed a customer-facing and internal-facing management information portal built on top of Microsoft Azure, which has really helped with some of our decision-making and improved the coordination and control of information across our business. We've adopted a range of communication tools like Skype for Business and Teams, which has helped us communicate both internally and with our connected supply chain quicker. And we've deployed another range of field-based solutions with partners like Viewpoint and Apponate, which has helped improve the productivity of the workforce. As a result, now we're much better in a better position to reduce time and effort that it takes to complete a majority of our tasks, and overall making some of our staff more efficient and enabling them to collaborate much better.
So Vinci is a company that's succeeding through adopting an engineer's mindset in both construction and IT, and the business outcomes that you've achieved are a testament to this approach. But how has partnering with O2 enabled you to achieve what you have?
Yeah, well, O2 are a strategic partner for us in sort of three key areas. The first being that O2 provide us both with our mobile services and fixed line telephone services. And obviously this goes on to enable collaboration at both various areas across the business. We've deployed and you also manage our Meraki Wi-Fi service at both all of our sites and construction sites. And this has really helped enable a much simpler method of access for both Vinci's workforce, the supply chain, and any guests visiting our offices or sites. And that's also adding that level of advanced security, which we never used to have with more traditional wired network solutions. And also working with O2 and some of their partners, we've gone on to build these technologies based on Microsoft Office 365 and Azure. And that's really, that's the key to us unlocking a lot of our future potential capability.
Thanks for that insight, Ben. And I'll come back to you shortly to ask about the future. First, I'd like to put a little bit more meat on the bones of the 4 pillars that I mentioned previously. So making a profit in the face of squeezed margins requires a more productive and efficient ways of working, which is precisely what our mobility solutions are designed for. We can equip your workforce with bespoke devices or even the toughest construction environment. Supported by the latest collaboration tools and secure connectivity, these will allow them to access the information they need when and where they need it for better decision making on the move. Better communication between construction sites and head office will also minimize unnecessary travel and CO2 emissions to help you reduce costs and meet sustainability targets. Having a connected mobile device is important for lone workers too, especially those working at night or in remote locations. enabling them to contact supervisors for help and support, ensures that you're meeting your corporate duty of care, and shows you take their health and safety seriously, which can build morale and help with retention. Flexible working will also help attract new talent too. In the face of a skills shortage, investing in the latest devices and mobile technologies is essential for attracting new graduates. And from a practical perspective, mobile applications can help with training, development, and knowledge transfer as well. Bespoke devices can help constructors be more productive, but what's running on those devices? O2 can help you deploy the right communication and collaboration tools for your specific requirements, whether that's keeping in touch via unified communications or sharing files with other digital resources in the cloud. We can advise on the best mobile optimized tools for working effectively across sites and teams, which will also reduce your reliance on fixed connections. The ability to work collaboratively and share information via digital tools means less travel expense and also a significant reduction in paper and print costs. Promoting paperless workflows is great for reducing your environmental impact too. Online staff training via video and content management tools ensures new workers can develop the right skills and gain relevant knowledge from older employees. And the use of digital tools and flexible working will also show that you're a modern employer, which will help attract young talent and retain valued employees. As an example of combining mobility and communications, yesterday I attended an O2 5G roadshow, where I experienced firsthand the power of these tools. I was using wearable technology that was voice controlled for hands-free operation and benefiting from remote expert assistance via augmented reality. Importantly, whilst the roadshow was focused on 5G, this technology and capability is available today. Underlying all of the O2 propositions for construction is the network connectivity that enables people to be productive and collaborative on the move. We're known by most people for our mobile network, of course, which has over 25 million users across the UK and has been rated as the best network for coverage by Uswitch and the most reliable by GWS. We're also the first provider to offer truly integrated connectivity with a single platform for fixed, mobile, voice, and data services that we call O2 Gateway. O2 Gateway removes the hassle of managing multiple suppliers and complex legacy IT infrastructure. It gives you one integrated network and one end-to-end SLA. For constructors in particular, the ability to join up your IT and communications infrastructure across multiple sites can help rationalize costs, which are increasingly being squeezed. And by outsourcing network management tasks as part of the overall agreement, you'll relieve some of the burden on your back office teams so they can focus on other things. And finally, we have insights. We use smart sensors and data analysis tools to give you real-time information on your construction operations so that you can find efficiencies and make cost savings. For example, we can give you full visibility on how all your resources and assets are being used so that you can allocate them better and predict when shortages might occur. This extends to things like vehicle maintenance, so rather than having multiple vehicles off the road at the same time, you can get an advanced view and adapt service schedules accordingly. Electronic tracking also means that you're more likely to recover them if they're stolen. Connected vehicles also help you save on fuel costs and reduce CO2 emissions by identifying the fastest and most efficient routes to a job or the closest worker. Through O2 Smart Vehicle, you can proactively manage and maintain your fleet with real-time visibility of vehicle status and driver behavior. This technology is deployed in the fleets of household names like UPS and Pepsi and helped Vanel, a UK-based piling and rail infrastructure company, to achieve a 5% reduction in fuel costs, 7% increase in productivity, and a 10% reduction in idle time. With access to live information through connected assets, you can make faster and more informed decisions. We can also help you collect data from multiple channels, such as your CRM, HR systems, and mobile devices as people complete tasks. This can provide a demonstrable continuous assurance that jobs are being completed in the right way, along with valuable insights on how to improve workflows and reduce bottlenecks. For example, O2 Workforce Management digitizes paper-based systems to dispatch jobs, track activity, and create dashboards and reports. Across the customer base, this has resulted in a minimum of 10% more jobs per day, a 50% reduction in administration costs, a 75% reduction in health and safety claim costs, and a 90% reduction in SLA penalties and fines. Now, back to you, Ben. You've told us about how the partnership has developed from the services that O2 are famous for to a wider mix of managed ICT services that are enabling your business. I also understand that the future strategy for Vinci is about revenue growth and improving margin. What new and future technologies are catching your interest that could help your team continue to deliver against Vinci's strategy?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, I think to improve margin, we're focusing really on eliminating mistakes and waste. We've still got a long way to go before everyone works in a perfect way and all of our business systems work as expected and designed. But I suppose to continue, we're going to look at ways to drive consistency through increasing adoption. So deploying better and more advanced tools for training plays a big part of this. To support some of our growth plans, we've set out our mission to take ownership of the digital program, and there's a new strategies and tactics developed on a daily basis. But in essence, I think we'll be encouraging the further use of technologies on our work sites to cover more areas of the project execution and help there. So some of our most recent successes have come from our ability to understand and use our data better and add value into the way that we work. So I think some of the newer technologies that help in these areas will really be key to us. So things like IoT, capturing, as you said, data from some of the devices in the field as they operate, combining that with predictive analytics to help us with our asset management routines on clients with large asset estates, and thinking about how artificial intelligence can be deployed onto construction sites to help us monitor and recognize events and recommend corrective actions as they occur, so that we can, take corrective actions much quicker and much faster than doing it in a human way.
So eliminating mistakes through effective use of business systems and owning the digital revolution with particular interest in IoT, predictive analytics and AI to ensure that you remain as competitive as you can be. Thanks, Ben. And that is a great segue into my next slide. That's because at O2, we don't just offer pre-packaged solutions. When we talk about innovation, we make sure that there's no art of the possible without a how-to attached. We're working with our O2 funded innovation accelerator, Wayra, to nurture technologies that are going to help transform the way that construction activities are carried out in the future. Great examples from the 120 Wayra members are Baystone, who are digitizing construction processes to unlock efficiency savings of over 60%. Mobilus Labs, who are changing the voice paradigm with its bone conduction hands-free communication technology that can be retrofitted to industry standard hard hats. Redsift, who are building an open cloud platform to combat cybercrime by using artificial intelligence and machine learning to unlock threat data and turn it into active protection. And ZanView, who are redefining video surveillance by giving you simple online interfaces to view and manage multiple camera feeds from different sites. We're also creating video case studies of the proof of concepts that customers are running with our members of the Wayra Accelerator so that they can be shared with communities of interest like Commit. Of course, no talk of innovation is complete without mentioning the Internet of Things and big data. When we talk about the Internet of Things, though, we have tangible business cases and case studies in the form of O2 Smart Steps, Smart Vehicle, and Smart Compliance. And when we talk about big data or machine learning or artificial intelligence, we have access to experts because Luca, which is the Telefonica data unit, has been using these technologies for years to improve business decision making. Using the Luca portfolio of services, we can help you gain valuable insights into your business so that you can make more informed decisions. Data engineering is about making your data accurate, complete, enriched, and structured so that it can become a key asset for your company and you can fully understand its potential. Luca's data scientists are experts in applying their knowledge of statistics, mathematics, and artificial intelligence to solve real business problems and optimize your processes. They can help you define your objectives, then run pilots or full-scale projects according to your requirements. Luca also offers the best technology tools and infrastructure to fit the ever-changing needs of our construction clients. These range from data ingestion tools and hosting to analytics and visualization. And we offer both on-premise rollouts for large companies and flexible cloud models for those with limited resources, all of which leads to business insights. For example, our IoT and big data solutions can improve project management through more detailed information on deliveries, vehicles, utilization, and health and safety. With less than 1% of IoT data actively being used and 97% of organizations reporting challenges in creating value from IoT investments, we can convert IoT data into action, not just maps and graphs. As part of O2 Smart Cities, we take feeds from IoT sensors and aggregate them with trend information from O2 Motion, which is populated by billions of O2 network events each day, to automatically generate and distribute jobs and workflow via a mobile app to the appropriate teams. Northern Rail reports a 25% improvement in productivity. Major retailers a 30% reduction in insurable risk costs, and the Metro newspaper, NHS Trusts and Compass Group have reported at least a 50% saving in back office administration costs. So we've talked about our approach to working in construction and the 4 key pillars of our propositions. But what really makes us different is how we do it. We start by building our understanding of you, both in terms of your sector and your business, and we're getting to know construction pretty well. We've created a dedicated vertical of construction in the O2 Enterprise sales team to ensure we have focus. We've joined Commit, construction's own community group that's promoting the use of mobile technology. We've had stands at Digital Construction Week and UK Construction Week to promote dialogue, and we're engaged with construction customers in 5G workshops to define new, innovative use cases. But every customer we work with is different, and their needs are always unique. So we get under the skin of how you operate, visiting your sites, digging into the issues you face, exploring how you currently use technology and where you want to go with it, investing in research and development internally, putting the right partnerships in place with selected specialists and leading vendors, and working with our O2-funded innovation accelerator, Wayra, to nurture technologies that are going to help transform the way that construction activities are carried out in the future. Our goal is to identify solutions that deliver the specific outcomes you're seeking in order to help construction companies implement flexible connectivity that makes their sites work better together, deploy tools that allow people to work in smarter ways whilst working on the move, and deliver real-time insights on equipment and vehicles to improve efficiency and utilization. Our ask of you is simple. Please come with us on this journey by reaching out and getting involved. And with that, I'd like to hand back to Stuart for some Q&A.
Wow, thanks guys. Insightful, fabulous. During the session, I was getting a lot of questions, which, well, some of them I'll read out to you, but one or two people were asking me, can they get copies of the slides, and when can they talk to you, and where's this technology, and how can we get it? So I think there's a lot of takeaways, and you've inspired a lot of people. Anyway, what I've got for everybody now is some poll questions. So I'll just move on to the next slide if I can. I have 4 poll questions, and the first one I'm just going to put on the screen now, but which of these challenges is your biggest? Can everybody see that one? Which of these challenges is your biggest? We've got falling output, squeezed margins, government targets, changing demographics, and Brexit uncertainty. Couple more seconds, and I'll share the results on that one. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Can everybody see that?
I can see it.
Yeah. Brexit uncertainty, that's the biggest.
Yeah.
Government targets, nothing there. Change. What do you think of that, guys? Matt?
I'm not altogether surprised, given that we're a week away from when Brexit is actually was supposed to happen. So I'm not altogether surprised about that one. I am a little bit surprised about the government targets. But then we are talking about the biggest challenge here. So everybody gets one vote and has to pick one. Yeah. I would imagine that government targets are, well, they certainly are from the customers that I speak to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not surprised that it's leaning towards Brexit, but squeeze margins being second, that's, yeah. It's been an issue for a long time, and I think you said at the very beginning about the efficiency gap. And in fact, I've seen some statistics that have said that productivity has actually fallen rather than risen, and that's going to have a direct impact on the margins. So yeah, interesting, but not too surprising.
Sure. Thanks, guys. I'll go to the next question now. Which of these technologies have you invested in most? Wow. Okay, I think everybody's voted. Let me share that. AI and VR, interesting, yeah. Nothing on drones, nothing on 3D printing.
So there's some similarity in this question with the one of the questions as far as the registration was concerned, but we've taken out handheld devices. So just for everybody's information, there was a registration question: what technologies or processes have you developed that directly addresses an important business issue? 1/3 of the people who responded to that question said handheld devices for digitizing processes. Again, I'm not massively surprised about that. From our investigations, and certainly from our experience, the sorts of efficiency returns on digitizing existing paper-based processes are so significant that the return on investment is very easy to build. What's not clear is how some of these other more recent technologies are being adopted. I am rather surprised, and I don't know whether it's a function of the number of people who are responding to the poll, but I am rather surprised that nobody has selected drones at all, because I do hear about drone deployments more often than I hear about virtual reality deployments. Ben, I don't know whether you're still there and can maybe comment on from your experience.
Our biggest investment actually is into drones, to be fair, with the ability to conduct high quality surveying on sites and being able to capture that from both an evidence perspective and also then thinking about how we use those images combined with maybe AI in the future to spot defects at an earlier stage in the build process. That's what we're attempting to deliver first, drones.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of activity around drones, because Commit has its own spin-off drone team, doesn't it?
Yes, the drone community, that's correct, yeah.
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 So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and a surprise to me as well, actually. Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the next question. I'm conscious of time. So everybody see that question? On a scale of 1, very hard, to 5, very easy, how difficult is it to implement new technology within your organization? Yeah. Okay. Middle of the road. Okay, I'm going to close that up and share that. Ben, can I ask you to comment on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, the procurement and the implementation of technology in today's society is relatively straightforward, middle grounds, I'd presume, much as everyone else. I would say the word for me is probably how difficult is it to adopt the technology correctly across the business post implementation. That's always the hardest challenge, and that's where we obviously need to focus more and more on working with the business around training programs and the sort of continual improvement activities post implementation to ensure that any kind of bugs and inefficiencies in the way that it works out are ruled out quite quickly, so that people can continue to adopt it and continue to drive value from it going forward, rather than give up when the barriers of difficulties of using it are met.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a couple of things about that, Ben. So, in my experience, actually involving the users in the creation of the solution is a great way of achieving that adoption.
Definitely agree with that. I mean, a lot of our successes has been around, as I mentioned in the conversation earlier, that when we go down to the requirements gathering process or the design thinking of the solution, it's led by the business and not like it used to be in the old days, the IT project teams and a business analyst who are less familiar with the operational reasons of why we're doing the project in the first place. So definitely support that.
Yeah, and just as a final point on this, so you're absolutely right. The question could well have been phrased slightly better, because and I wrote the question, so that's my fault. That difficulty could be a technical difficulty, it could be a commercial difficulty, and just an observation from the other question that was posed for the registrants. How does your business quantify the success of an IT project? 2/3 answered two questions. Chose two answers, which are very similar. Has a demonstrable ROI based on hard and soft benefits, or has improved operational efficiency of construction processes. So it looks like businesses are quantifying technology investment based on a strong return on investment or efficiency-based argument. And so if you can create that, then it's not a commercial challenge, and technology, if you're choosing the right technology, is not a technical challenge. But it's a really good point about the challenge being the adoption of it, and not having people feel that it's being done to them, it's being done for them or with them.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for the answers on that, guys. That takes us very nicely into the next question. Which of the following is the greatest barrier to technology adoption? You should be able to see that now. Okay, nearly everybody's voted. Thank you for your answers on that. I'll close that up and I'll share it. So 76% organisational culture.
So Ben was right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thoughts, Ben?
I would have pressed organizational culture myself if I had a button. Yeah, I think technology is only there for the purpose of people who want to use it, right?
Yeah.
And it's getting people to adapt and change to the new technology options that are out there is by far the much hardest and time-consuming process that you're going to, stage that you're going to go through in any kind of digital transformation. So yeah, I fully appreciate and support that. Got a lot of grey hairs as a result of that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we, as I said earlier, we don't focus on the features and functions of the technology. What we try and do is look at who is trying to do what, and you'll know, Stuart, firsthand about the jobs to be done methodology that we have adopted in order to try and tease those things out. So who's the actor? What are they trying to achieve? How are they currently doing it? And what is the business outcome of doing it cheaper, faster, better?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it's not just about return on investment these days. You know, Commit's been involved for a number of years on you know, helping users be able to be in the right position and, you know, use the tools and the technology effectively to get the right result. But it's taken a long time, and the resistance to change was quite strong at the beginning. But of course, those barriers have been broken down as things have been proven to work and help people in their processes. You know, it's improved, but it's still not where it needs to be. And I think, you know, by collaborating, you know, the examples and cases you presented today, guys, I think, you know, highlight the opportunities to make that change and bring the technology to get the improvements. So, yeah, thanks very much for the for putting those polls together, Matt, Ben. Brilliant. I'm conscious of time. I'm just going to go on to close that down now and move on to the next slide, because we've got some questions, I believe, which I'd like to just bring out. Okay, so the next question I've got here is, do you think that fall in productivity is down to a rising reliance on technology?
Well, so falling productivity, rising reliance on technology. Ben, I think maybe because I actually work for a technology company, so I'm bound to have a view on that says that technology is the panacea. It's the solution to the problem. It's not the cause of it. So
difficult question to pinpoint an exact answer. I would say maybe inefficient and badly designed technology that provides poor user experience could be a key point in how to, you know, reduce people's productivity. But then I'd say the more modern suite of tools that, as we mentioned before, focus on only delivering unique and specific, highly efficient user experiences, go a long way to trying to remove that. I would say it is a complex world out there, and there's a lot of interoperability between different systems that we need to use to deliver our jobs. And I'm not sure that everyone, or I'm not, certainly myself, we're not yet fully integrated between systems and key stages in the process, and that means there's still a lot of handoff and manual operations. And for us, that's kind of some of the key areas of where we can obviously see more opportunity to improve efficiency going forward.
Yeah. One of the things that's pointed to me on a number of, has been on a number of occasions in the past, is that organisations don't have any money to spend on innovation, research and development. They have to be done project specific. And whilst that's true in a number of cases, it's not true in every case. And you know, government initiatives have helped, and certainly research in the past has highlighted that if governments and clients help, you know, the rest of the chain, then there is opportunities to innovate, use the technology, and make a difference. But it's you know, how do you get the thing started? And I think the examples you've given, Ben, today, I think you know, highlight the fact that, you know, there is benefits if you invest the time and effort. So yeah, thanks for your answers on that, guys. One other thing I would like to say is that you know, the communication in the industry, as in the past, it was very difficult to get it to work effectively. And I think, you know, what you've brought along with O2, Matt, and has been demonstrated today, and certainly at a number of the commit sessions in the past, you know, has got people talking. And you know, it's commendable really that O2 has taken the lead in this. Anything you want to add to that, Matt?
Well, we're a communications company, so I guess it's not a massive surprise that we promote communications, but the first stage in that promotion is actual verbal communications between like-minded individuals, or individuals trying to solve the same problem. And I really enjoyed the session that we did at the O2, because there was a lot of face-to-face dialogue, there was a lot of ideation going on, a lot of sharing of ideas. And I think that comes back to, I was just thinking about the question that I ducked just then, and Ben's excellent answer to it. I think that commit is really interesting in and of itself. You know, you talk to construction organizations and they'll say, look, we had this great bit of innovation on this project, but it stayed within the project, and then the project ended and everybody went their separate ways, and we lost that innovation. So to have an organization like Commit, where people are coming together from different organizations to share innovation, when even within their own organizations they're not really sharing innovation, is to my mind, that's the sort of thing that we should be doing more of. We should be having conversations not about solutions in the first instance, but about the problems, in order to correctly define what those problems really are, and then try and apply some technology to them, rather than just saying this is the technology solution and it'll solve all of your problems.
I agree. I mean, collaboration is key, and you know, we've been promoting that for a number of years in Commit. I've got one other question that's come in here. Just bear with me a second. Okay. So innovation and funding in the UK is geared towards blue sky concepts which cannot be deployed today, whereas the most certain and biggest bang for the buck is to reuse proven technologies from other industries. What are your thoughts on this, Matt?
Well, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So, and it was a bit of an epiphany for me, actually. So I really enjoyed UK Construction Week this year. I took a slightly different approach, and I went to as many seminars and listened to as many people as I could, because I recognise the fact that we quite often find ourselves just working in our own little bubble and speaking to the same people over and over again. And if you're not careful, you end up suffering from that echo chamber effect. So I tried to expose myself to new ideas, and one of the sound bites, or one of the quotes that I gave earlier on in the presentation around the fact that you shouldn't be investing in something that doesn't have a demonstrable ROI. There are plenty of technologies out there that have been used elsewhere in different ways, slightly different ways perhaps, and in slightly different markets or in slightly different verticals, that you can crib from and redeploy. So rather than look too far into the future, you know, past the trough of disillusionment and looking at the hype curve, etc., you know, go with something that's got a demonstrable ROI in use elsewhere, to demonstrate that you can deliver against the business objectives that you're trying to align your technology to. Great.
Okay, thanks very much for the answers there. Okay, so just, yeah, thanks for the answer. Thanks for the questions that have been sent in as well. Appreciate that. I'm going to move on to the next part now, and I'm going to say thanks, guys. Put on a great session today. As I said, you know, quite enlightening. A lot of takeaways there, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of follow-up on this as well. I'd also like to thank our sponsors for the webinar, which is O2 Business and, of course, Rebim. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. And my next slide takes me into the Commit Community Day. If you like what you've seen today and heard, then the 5th of December, it's being hosted by one of our members, IFS, in Staines. And the theme is wearables. So, Matt, perfect opportunity to roll some of those technologies out and get them on show. Fantastic. You're very welcome to come along and participate. I'd like to thank everybody for signing up and joining in today. Really appreciate it. I think it's been a fabulous session. I hope you can join us on the next one. And talking about the next one is on the 21st of November, and it's going to be a cost-saving model for asset management or thereabouts. So really appreciate everybody's input today. I've one more question, I think, that's just popped up on the screen. Oh, no, that's an old question. It's just represented itself, but it's been answered. So thank you very much, everybody. Obviously, join in through the social media loop. Those are the loops there, the contacts. One thing I would like to say is Sue Butcher, joined us today. Sue has been tweeting away online. Thank you, Sue. Really appreciate your help. I know you've spent a good bit of time promoting the webinars. Really appreciate that. Thank you. So until next time, guys, we'll see you soon. Thanks for your input and have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.